Excel. Hope you all are well out there. Still here, sunny, snow on the ground. Glad to be alive. Amen. Got a lot to discuss with you guys today. I will be bringing you back commentary. After this commentary pertaining to R. Kelly and Rex Heuremann, I will be live again, and that content will be pertaining to the debacle coming out of King Sports. So please stay tuned to the next slide, but enjoy this content that I'm going to bring to you today. I was looking at the YouTube queue to add some information to this R. Kelly mess. 2 months ago, November 13th, content was uploaded by WGN News Chicago that R. Kelly had filed a lawsuit against the federal government, prison officers, and a YouTuber. That YouTuber name is Tasha K, a very infamous YouTuber who has been had a lot of controversy with other famous people for allegations of content that she has brought to her network. But obviously something was given from one of the jails he was in, Chicago, and that information was given over and passed along allegedly to the YouTuber. Do not know what's truth or not, because I don't really watch her content. Used to watch, but anyway, invasion of privacy. What I find interesting about that is that you're suing Mr. Kelly, the federal government, prison officers, and the YouTuber. But now you're claiming to not have knowledge that alleged victims are getting royalties or getting money from your royalties from your music in a $10 million lawsuit. And I find that odd, because if you can sue the federal government, prison officers, and a YouTuber, how would you not have known that the certain women had filed a lawsuit against you to receive monies for sexual allegations? I'm confused. So I'm going to bring you all that said information. Thank you all so much for joining me. Just utter nonsense. It never stops. Never stops. Hope you like my little background. Just a little something change up for you guys. Thank you all so much. I'm sure you all were waiting for my other crazy nonsense topics, but I have to bring you breaking news pertaining to different things. So as I told you, this is a commentary channel about different subject matters, different venues. Okay, let me bring this nonsense up. And also Sarah Boone, she will be going to court for murder, the murder of her boyfriend, the woman who watched her boyfriend get into a suitcase, allegedly, and later left him there. That trial will start on January 29th, which is Monday, same day as the Queen's birthday. So I will give you a heads up when that trial starts so we can dissect that situation. And also an African-American female out of Chicago, she and her boyfriend had killed her mother. Her name is Heather Mack. She is pleading for leniency to our United States government over her mother's murder. She and her boyfriend killed the mother in Bali, and they gave her 7 years, and then they gave extradition back to the United States for her. And I believe the total sentence is 15 years, and she's fighting that, which I think of 15 years is a slap on the wrist, quite frankly. So I don't know what her problem is. And she was also pregnant, allegedly. So what happened to the baby? Very interesting. The complex is the source. R. Kelly claims he was unaware of lawsuit that led to judge awarding $10.5 billion to 6 women. Okay. Now, why is it not coming up? This is weird. I hate when it does this. They don't want you to watch anything without asking for cookies. It's crazy. Complex is the source, everybody. R. Kelly claims he was oblivious to an August 2023 ruling in which 6 women were awarded $10.5 million. Hold on. This is acting up. Over alleged threats that led to a canceled screening of the docuseries Surviving R. Kelly. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, Kelly argues he would have fought the lawsuit if he was aware of its existence. The singer claims he had become inundated with legal matters and made changes to his legal representation that this particular lawsuit must have gone unnoticed. In the event that he did receive the lawsuit, Kelly claims he cannot read or understand words beyond that of a grade schooler and relies upon his lawyers to explain what he would be facing. R. Kelly and Donnell Russell, his manager at the time, were accused of making repeated threats in order to silence the 6 women who appeared in the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries. Kelly and Russell also threatened to take legal action against the women and producers of the docuseries. The lawsuit alleges a December 2018 screening in New York City was shut down after someone on Kelly's team threatened to shoot up the venue. Kelly argues in these latest court documents that Russell never served as his manager and believes the blame should fall squarely on Russell's shoulders if he made the threat that led to the halted screening because he did that for his own reasons, quote unquote. Russell received a 1-year sentence stemming from the lawsuit. R. Kelly was sentenced in 2022 to 30 years in prison after being found guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking. He will then spend another 20 years behind bars for sex crimes charged, and know that he also has pending cases in other jurisdictions such as Michigan, Minnesota, and I believe there's somewhere else as well. So this is all from the documentary. Women were threatened. A co-defender by the name of Mr. Russell received a 1-year sentence from that lawsuit pertaining to the women being threatened. R. Kelly is saying the blame should fall on him. He did it for himself, Mr. Donnell Russell. So let's talk about that. R. Kelly, you claim to be uneducated, can't read, can't write, but you know how to manipulate and con, and you also know how to ask people to do things for you. That lawsuit, I mean, let's be truthful. There was a lot that went with threatening those women. There were allegations of trying to burn down one of the girls' houses. One of the young ladies who I believe you gave a venereal disease to, if I'm not mistaken, if it's the same female. So why would someone try to burn down someone's house? They were same person riding by that girl's house, threatening these different people. You paid off one victim, the one that was in the sex tape. She was a minor at the time. You paid her family off. It's obvious. That's why you were able to get away with the charges, the first sex charge you got in Chicago many moons ago. Why would this guy go threaten people? What would he gain? That's the point. What would a stranger gain by going to threaten somebody they don't know anything about? Plural, more than one, allegedly. And the fact that he got 1 year in jail, probably pled guilty. Why not? Because people usually leave a trail when they're threatening people because people cannot stay off that cell phone, email. And obviously, the state had proof. That's why you got a 1-year sentence. And you should have known that your crimes would catch up with you at some point. How much philandering can you do with children and young girls and boys? And what you do with grown people, that is their business. Everyone has their opinion about what you did and didn't do over the years. But there are a few people who don't have such nice stories to tell about you. And quite frankly, it's too many. Very disrespectful acts against women and men, boys and girls. Your preference are children. Now, we understand that you were a victim of sexual abuse from your own sister and a neighbor. But nonetheless, there comes a point when you have to acknowledge that what you're doing is wrong as an adult. That children are off limits. And even when you're engaging in sexual acts with a grown-up, if he or she says they don't like something or I don't want to do that, then you're supposed to not attempt to force them to do it. You had to have known about the lawsuit. Basically, you're saying, well, I was otherwise engaged in other matters. Yeah, other lawsuits. That's the point. That's really the point of this story. You got so much going on, so many allegations against you, so many lawsuits. You should have been keeping up with all of this, whether you can read or write or not. But see, that's the gist of this story. You had all these people working for you underhandedly, moving people about through the United States to jump over here, ride here, jump on a plane, jump on a bus. Also, you could interact with them sexually. You really had no use for any of these women or men or children that you were dealing with because you're a sex fiend. You like sex. You idolize sex. It's obvious. That has been your sole goal for dealing with all these people. I don't think you've loved anyone, not even the woman that you married. She has allegations against you too, that you are abusive. She alleged she tried to kill herself from the abuse. So that's a lot to be said. You had to have known that the women would sue. And I do believe you knew, because I don't believe this is new knowledge. Because as I said, if you can sue the city of Chicago, the jail, YouTuber, blah, 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 you also had to have known about these women bringing forward a lawsuit against you. There's no way you didn't know. And I don't think many people care if you forgot, because it is what it is. You have wasted your life in chasing sex, and this is where it has gotten you. And your sins finally found you out because you got a pass for making sex tapes of so many women. The tape went around. Obviously, somebody didn't like you. They turned on you. They put the tape out, distributed it. So that lets you know you never had real friends. The fact that you later in life went to the bank just to see how much money you had. I've never heard of such. Read or write or not, at some point you should have said to yourself, I need to know how to write a check. I need to know how to use a debit card. I need to know how to call my bank. I need to know how to access my account. Who's just going to walk around on allowing other people to do things for you? So that's why nobody's going to believe this BS. You didn't know anything about the women being threatened. Because you have paid these people to stalk people, harass people, pick up people, tow them from one place to the other, and that's where sex trafficking comes in. Moving children across state lines is a crime. And you do like sex. As I said, I believe you idolize it. So you are moving children around one state to the other. From Florida to Chicago, that's a lot of states just to have a sex partner who played crazy and dumb, but she was young. Some say the parents knew, blah, blah, blah. I don't argue all that because you have to have proof that somebody solicited their child to a grown man for sex. Do I condone their behavior with allowing their child to go unattended to record with Mr. Kelly? Of course I don't condone that. That's why a lot of people, I guess, say, well, they had to have known. What did they think was going on? Well, it depends on your interpretation. Because as I said, you have to prove that. This man told them, hey, I'm going to be having sex with your daughter. You don't mind, I'll pay you a finder's fee, letting me keep your child. He's not going to admit to that, and they would never admit to that. And then where does the child fall in with saying, oh, yeah, okay, I'll go along with it. And then look at the payout. Was it worth it in the end? If you want to say he paid these people to take their children to another state to live as a sex partner, sharing a house with another woman, was that worth the payout? Getting on interviews and lying, both of the women at first. Then eventually one decided to just go ahead and leave the nest altogether. And then when he got arrested, the last Mohican, she decided to fly away. Because really she didn't have a choice. There's nothing left. He's in jail. He can't do anything. You can't see him. You can't have sex with him. So what did she have? If he didn't leave her anything, he didn't put her in charge of anything, what did she have? But then she later went on, got her a place, showed a little tour of a little apartment or house she got. I thought, very interesting. Now, where would she have gotten money from for that? Because she didn't work. Who knows? But in the end, they always flip. That's the gist of the story. Rex Heuremann, my next update. Boy, another busy bee. He has been linked to a fourth victim, Mr. Rex Heuremann. Yes, he has. I think we knew this day was coming. And I'm assuming he knew as well. It's just a matter of them gathering the DNA from that victim and testing it against Mr. Heuremann, his DNA or whatever he had to test, which would be a lot considering he's a whole human. It's a very sad situation because these women didn't deserve this. No, nobody deserved this. No matter if you're a sex worker or not. No one has the right to murder you, torture you, and murder you. Let's see if I can get this content up for you guys. Thank you all so much. Hello, Scissors. Yvonne P. Thank you. I put them there for you all because they were in the window with the snowflake. I said, well, we'll give them we'll move them around, let them come downtown on the counter for a little while so they can get a little change of scenery. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let's see here. Oh, this volume is too low. I don't know why sometimes I can play content and the volume's great, and then other times it's not that good.
Is now charged in a fourth murder. And what you're seeing now is a live picture. We're awaiting an update at a press conference that the legal teams will be holding. We expect Rex Heuermann's attorneys to be speaking to the media. You can see police.
So there's going to be a press conference pertaining to this update with his attorneys as well in the state pertaining to Rex Heuermann. News Nation is the source of that said information. I'm going to go down in here and see what else they have as far as the update. Gilgo Beach serial killer suspect Rex Heuermann has been charged with killing 25-year-old Maureen Brainerd Barnes, the final victim of the Gilgo Ford. Mr. Jesse Weaver discusses why Heuermann is being charged with second-degree murder instead of first-degree murder. Very interesting. Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Wow. Very scary. Let's see if I can photograph. They're talking. Because everything gets flagged now. You can't really show anything anymore. I was trying to find something. I have 1,000 places that I store information. Hey, hon. Hello, Miss Chloe. Chloe Jade. Slow running live stream today. Nobody likes talking about anything else. Y'all love that old Hollerville stuff. Sadly. Don't worry, I got a live stream coming up, so I'm going to go live right after this one. Suspected Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann charged with fourth Gilgo Beach killing. Wow, this is bad. Burner phones showed Heuremann searched online for sex workers, audio accounts of rape, and autopsy photos of female. This is where I am trying to digest this because I tried to pride myself that I can understand content when I'm reading it. Audio, what do you mean by audio? He taped or recorded himself raping the victims? Please tell me no. Please tell me he did not have a camera rolling hidden a file in his phone or devices, computers, of him sexually assaulting the victims, because that sounds like that's where this is going. Facing second-degree murder, Mr. Heuremann, in connection to the killing of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Additional burner phones have allegedly been linked to Heuremann, with authorities claimed went by the name Andy to solicit sex workers online per court documents. Authorities claim in court documents that Heuermann's online searches contain searches for audio of rape accounts and autopsy photos of women. So that means he's searching for autopsy photos, I'm assuming. Audio, I would assume that's him either talking into a device about raping the women, possibly he named the women in the accounts. Who does this? It's bad enough you're out hunting people, hunting women, torture, discarding them, searching for them, taunting their family, calling them. We have victims to say they were called by him over the years. So now they're bringing forward information that what? You were talking to yourself on a phone or in an audio recording of what you did to them? How sick can you be? This is so pathetic. Long Island serial killer suspect Rex Heuremann has been charged in connection with a fourth murder. Prosecutors confirmed in court documents reviewed by people on Tuesday. The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office announced January 16th that the 59-year-old former architect from Massapequa Park has been linked to the killing of Maureen Brainerd Barnes through DNA evidence and has been charged with second-degree murder, according to ABC New York reports. Brainerd Barnes was one of the four women found buried in the same marshy, desolate area in Gilgo Beach, Long Island, New York, in December 2010, all within about 500 feet of each other. The other victims were identified as Amber Costello, Melissa Bartholomew, and Megan Waterman. Wow, this is deep. Let me go back to that girl's name again. Brainerd Barnes, Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Scary. All four women had worked as online escorts and were missing between 2007 and 2010. Heuremann, who was previously charged with the murders of Costello, Bartholomew, and Waterman, in July has pleaded not guilty to the killings. Brainerd Barnes was last seen July 9, 2007 in New York City after checking out from a Super 8 motel. She was found bound with 3 leather belts, one of which was used to tie her ankles. And I do believe one of those belts has been mentioned in commentary to belong to Mr. Heuremann because it has initials of his name or his father's initials. This is so creepy to me. Gosh. All right. In Tuesday's filing, prosecutors claimed that burner phones were discovered that connected Heuremann to online searches for sex workers, as well as porn searches, audio accounts of rape, and a search that read autopsy photos of female. He allegedly used the alias Andy to communicate with sex workers online, authorities said. Prosecutors further alleged that Heuremann was alone with his now estranged wife, was out of town with their children when Brainerd Barnes was killed in July 2007, ABC New York reports. This allegedly fit a pattern of him being alone during the other alleged murders, which granted him unfettered time to execute his plans for each victim without any fear that his family would uncover or learn of his involvement in these crimes, prosecutors said in the court documents released Tuesday. Heuremann was allegedly linked to the previous 3 cases by other burner phones, which were used to arrange meetings with the victims, as well as by a piece of his hair, allegedly found at the bottom of a burlap bag used to wrap Waterman's body. Now, I did hear that the wife, her hair was found on one of the bodies. So is this a separate hair that they're claiming was at the bottom of a burlap bag? to wrap Waterman's body. Boy, this is horrible. He was also traced to a Chevrolet Avalanche registered to him that was allegedly seen at the time of Costello's disappearance. In searches, authorities also found evidence that Heuremann was allegedly obsessed with the case and searched for articles about the task force that was formed to investigate the murders. We saw all this really sort of concerning searches that he was undergoing, Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney previously alleged. In a 14-month period, over 200 times, he's searching for information about the Gilgo investigation. He's trying to figure out what we're up to. According to authorities, included in his searches were, why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island serial killer? And why hasn't the Long Island serial killer been caught? Good Lord. Investigators also allegedly found hundreds of internet searches about raping and torturing women, child porn and rape porn, as well as searches for his victims and their families. And that goes to the calls that a few have gotten, don't know how many, but they're in documentaries pertaining to getting phone calls, family members getting phone calls, telling that he is the killer of their loved one, and other unsavory business, I believe, was discussed in the phone calls. He was obsessively looking at the victims, but he's also looking at the victims' siblings, claimed Tierney. Heuremann also allegedly seemed to be fascinated by serial killers and sleuth online for 11 currently active serial killers and 8 terrifying active serial killers we can't find. Tierney said Heuremann was pretty surprised when he was arrested on July 13th near his office building in Manhattan. I think he lived this double life and he used the anonymity of phones and computers to shield himself from the rest of society, he alleged. Unfortunately for him and fortunately for the rest of us, he wasn't successful. People is the source. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, Nubian. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Shawty. Well, welcome to the Vault, honey. Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for joining me. I've got at least 32 in the room. Thank you all for tuning in. This live stream is about R. Kelly. He's claiming he has no idea of the $10.5 million lawsuit by the 6 women, alleged victims. And he's claiming, well, he was busy dealing with other matters. As I said, yeah, other charges, of course. That's water under the bridge, Robert. The second part of this last stream is pertaining to Rex Heuremann. He's the suspect in the Gilgo Beach slayings. And now we have a victim number 4 who has been added to the roster. For those of you who are not following the case, I'll give you her name. Let's see. Let me try to maneuver some stuff around so you all can get a view of the victims. These are our victims, okay? Sadly, these ladies are no longer with us. Oh, you have to ask yourself, how did it come to this? How did it come to this? He's claiming, well, not me. I didn't do it. Well, Rex, first we got information about a hair belonging to your wife. Naturally, that can be excused, or can it? Why would your wife's hair be on these women? Then that means you have to still admit that you had dealings with them. Oh, Yvonne P says, I read the new hair might be the daughter's hair. Well, they're saying it's his hair. So I can only go by what this source here, and this is People, and ABC is the report, the reporter giving the information to People. So allegedly, this new hair is Rex's. That's why it's probably taking so long for them to divvy up the information, because naturally there's so many processes you have to go through when you're trying to compare hair and different things, especially if it's just one strand of hair. You got to be careful how much of the hair you're using to test. It's a tedious process testing, hair, blood, especially blood stains, because when it's minute, you have to make sure that you're doing everything properly, because you only get a one shot at the testing when it's not a lot to go off of. You don't have a lot of DNA to compare from victim to suspect. So here are our victims. And there are more victims that are in the general area. So now imagine that tedious process to try to see if Mr. Heuremann is also linked to those victims. It is just absolutely horrendous to just find body after body after body. And then they tell you, oh yeah, by the way, we have more victims. Now we've got to do this process for each one against Mr. Heuermann's DNA. It's just baffling. These people just thrown out like trash. This last young lady bound with 3 belts. Where is she going? She's dead. Why do you need to bind somebody 3 times with a belt? That leads me to believe, as they said, she was petite. All the women were small in stature. That's how he liked them. Serial killers do have a preference. Ted Bundy liked them dark-haired, part down the middle. This creep likes them short. All the girls were short. All of them were sex workers. Once again, another sex fiend, probably sex addict. Of course, Dr. Phil says you can't be addicted to sex, but I never heard of such. You can be addicted to anything, from my understanding. But nonetheless, 3 belts around this last victim. I have to read which one is which. Maureen Brainerd Barnes. I'm assuming that's the top one with the dark hair. Then there's Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, Amber Lynn Costello. Lord have mercy. What a mess. Now, wifey, I want to talk about her for a second before I check out of here. They're trying to allude, which they did this before the Brainerd girl got tagged on to the victim list. They're trying to say he exacted these crimes while the wife and the children were. But my better half is telling me, and I could be wrong, of course, you want me to believe a person who is addicted to sex, addicted to torture, addicted to sexual assault, torture, God forbid what he did to them, he just waited every time his wife had to go out of town. Well, yes, Nubian. Well, Nubian, I'm a tall lady, so possibly not queen, but you understand. I get the point that you're making. But nonetheless, before this lady was tagged on as victim number 4, you all were making that claim last year. Oh, he was out of town. The wife was gone. Every time he killed somebody, I don't know if I believe that. Because I don't know if I believe that. We're talking about maybe a 3-year span of women being missing and dumped. I just don't know if I believe that. Because you got to prove it. And all that BS about, oh, she was out of town on this trip to such and such. Okay, that might have been one time. You have 4 victims now, and possibly more if those other people out there in the marsh belong to Mr. Heuremann on the victim list. So now you got to sit here and go to find an itinerary of every time she went out of town, you got to try to link this person who went missing around that time and the discovery of the body. Because naturally, bodies don't get discovered when they are killed. And his attorney, Lord, I'm exhausted talking about this too, because this is sad to me. If we're to believe that lady who said she went out to the house with her detective friend and saw Miss Heuremann there, then that may not be truthful information, that she's always gone when he kills a victim. Because first we got to decide how many victims there are. We're not going to know that until they compare his DNA to all the people found in the marsh. And who's to say if let's say he's killed the rest of those people, which is about what, 8 or 9? That ain't telling how many more he could have killed and dumped them somewhere else. Maybe he got tired of dumping them there. Killers don't always use the same place to dump bodies. At some point they get tired and they take them somewhere else. They get lazy. That's why Gacy started out just killing the victims, to dumping them down in the crawl space, because it's just easier, less attention, trying to drag them out. He was heavy set. He probably didn't want to be lifting no bodies, carrying them out. No way, little fat. You know what? He didn't want to do all that work. But then at some point, he had to take them out because it was stinky. He was running out of room, dropping those young men down there in the crawl space. So how do we know he didn't go on some tangent somewhere else, New Jersey or neighboring states, met up with a woman, dumped a woman in another city? See, you don't know. And I'm sure that any unidentified body, I'm praying that they have done due diligence in investigating any unidentified women, transgender, whichsoever, as to compare it to Rex. Because naturally his DNA is in the CODIS database because he is believed to be a predator. But I believe that lady saw her. Because how easy would it be to make up something? Because we know with true crime, some people do things for attention. Am I supposed to believe this lady just made this up? Go into that house, meeting with Mr. Rex, and the wife was there. She claims that lady, who is his wife, was in that house the night her male friend, the detective, and one of these other victims was there in the house. And they left because they took the girl with them. They said they took her. She was disheveled. She said that's what she remembered about her. She was disheveled looking. And the first thing I thought to myself was like, why is this cop taking a second woman with him to swing or whatever, if I'm to believe these allegations? You're taking a second woman to swing who looked unkempt. My mind was just racing when I first heard that information. I was like, this is disgusting. Because if I was that black lady, I would have been asking this guy, why are we picking up her? Who's getting ready to have sex with her? I'm not trying to be rude, but when you're a clean person, you're going to ask some type of questions. Even though if you're swinging, people may think you're not clean because they're like, well, you're swapping bodily fluids, so how clean can you be? But you understand what I'm saying from an aesthetic point. If you're well-dressed, nice-looking, and then your male date picks up this Caucasian lady and she's looking like she's unkempt, you're thinking, okay, well, what's going on here? Why are we picking her up? Where are we taking her? Oh, she must going to be with the other guy. And then you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I'm not swinging with her because she doesn't look clean. Lord have mercy. Excuse my expressions, but I'm just keeping it real from the information that's been given. I mean, he had to have opportunity, but part of the thrill was doing it under everyone's nose. Yes, I would assume so. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not getting ready to bank that Rex Heuremann killed all these victims, 4 now, in private places other than his home. Because you're still being seen. Even if you go to a hotel, you remember we got the taxi cab driver's allegation of dropping one of the girls off or picking one of the girls up. He comes out. So we got 2 different versions now about encounters with Rex Heuremann from living people. Picking him up. He's acting peculiar in the car. Talking about he picked her specifically. This is just BS. All this is crazy to me. I don't really know what to think, quite frankly. Let y'all see my little birdies. I don't know. See, this is the thing about true crime. You can think up 1,000 things in your head about a person. Think up 1,000 things about the victim, the people who also are eyewitnesses. The one thing I always tell you to remember about a story is just that. It's a story. You either believe the information or you don't. And it was something else I wanted to mention too that's kind of been on my mind. You know, when they make movies about a person's life, sometimes they'll say based on actual facts or based on a true story or this is a dramatization. I think about all the movies I watched growing up where they said that this is based on a dramatization. So then I think about the Gypsy Rose mess going on. She's upset with the act because it's not the actual portrayal of her life. And I get what she's saying. You don't know what really happened in that house. You weren't there. You didn't know my mother. She's dead. I'm alive. You didn't talk to me. So you're not getting the true portrayal. So I get that. So then I think I jog my memory back in life, all the movies I've watched in life, or just this, or documentary. Am I getting the truth? Because if it's a dramatization, I don't think we really realize what that word means. That's a reenactment. And then sometimes they'll put up a story where they change the names. Because she mentioned that. She says, I'd appreciate it more if they had just changed the names, but they put my name in the story. So you're telling that as if it's factual. So I think back to life, all the stories I've watched when major networks, CBS, ABC, NBC, would do a movie, make a movie about a person, a crime. Burning bed, the Ted Bundy, Deliberate Stranger, so on and so forth. So many movies over the years. What is truth and what is dramatization? Because I've thought about that over the years. I thought, well, if nobody knows what was said behind closed doors, how do I know the husband said that to the wife before killing her? Or before she killed him, or she hired somebody to kill her husband. You understand what I'm saying? How do I know these are the actual conversations? Because you don't. So then that means what we've been watching over the years is really not factual. It's just that the detectives did the groundwork. They gave that information to the district attorney. The district attorney decided if it was a case worth bringing forward to bring forward a charge, and then they play it out in court according to the evidence, CCTV footage, eyewitness accounts, and the evidence left at the crime scene. But that's it. So now you look at all the stories you hear of true crime, and you have to ask yourself the same thing. Did he do it? Did she do it? What was the motive? Are the eyewitnesses telling the truth? Because that's something we are seeing a lot with true crime, especially with the stuff that I talk about here pertaining to East Tennessee and its shenanigans. You don't know what's the truth. You don't know if a person's telling you the truth about what the neighbor did, what this person said, what their disposition is. Now, you get a glimpse into a person's life where you see they act a donkey's ass, then you can say, well, yeah, I think I kind of believe that guy, what he said about him is the truth, because I've seen him act out on social media, or he lashed out at the news, so on and so forth. He's got a, lengthy criminal record with assaults. So yeah, I believe he's violent. But what if you don't get a portrayal of an alleged suspect or suspect? You don't have anything to go on that they are violent or they committed some nefarious deed. Very interesting. Well, I'm not going to hold you guys. That's the latest update. But as I said, R. Kelly is claiming not to have knowledge of this $10.5 million lawsuit exacted by these women that were in the docuseries. And the co-conspirator, Mr. Russell, Donnell Russell, he got a year sentence. I'm assuming he's done that year already. Mr. Kelly is serving a lot of time in prison. He's also sued a YouTuber and the city jail for invading his privacy and I guess giving out personal information to the YouTuber. The jailers gave out information allegedly. Well, as I said, karma's a you know what. So you live by example, lead by example. And sometimes things don't come around and knock on your door right away. Sometimes it's a while before justice comes home. And I believe that's what happened with the R. Kelly situation. I also believe that's the same situation here with Rex Heuremann. He went years undetected as a killer, and now his time has come. Now, I'm sure he's going to deny this charge as well. Of course. I found something interesting, too, I heard. It's about a month or two ago. This is so crazy to me. They said that he cried. Oh, my goodness. Are you hearing this? You're welcome, sweetie. That he cried when he got arrested. Why would you be crying? Let's say he's the killer, which I think he is. You've got all this nefarious searches from your devices. Tons of burner phones, which makes no sense for you to have all these phones. You're not a drug dealer. Why do you need all these burner phones? So just from your searches alone, you are disgusting, okay? Why are you searching child porn, number one? Searching the victim's family members, that's a bit much right there. You might be able to have your lawyer tell 12 members of a jury, well, he was just curious. He's a true crime junkie. Okay, but why do you need to know who their sisters and brothers and mothers are? And then there's going to be people to testify in court. Yeah, that's the guy that called me. That sounds like his voice. Because they're going to play the audio in court if the people kept the messages, the audio. Come on now. Child porn, really? You're into child porn? So besides you being a sadist, torture, you like rape scenes, rape porn. How do you make rape porn? Please explain that to the queen. I can only think of two things. Dramatization for a porn movie, or somebody's actually sexually assaulting someone and they have filmed it. And that's even scarier. If he has watched porn where someone has uploaded content to some deep dark web or underground website of them raping a victim, as we heard with this Sean Williams guy up here in Tennessee. He filmed himself sexually assaulting the women, drugging them. So you get off on torture, rape, and child porn. So that's, I don't even want to try to explain child porn because that's a whole nother subject. This is what you get off on. And then murder. Let's not leave that out. Sexual sadist and a killer who did not kill these women, because that's what you're going to say with victim number 4. What is the wife going to say? I think she was just happy to get the damn house put in her name. I'm going to be truthful with you. She strikes me as somebody that's just oblivious or has played oblivious to her husband. I won't doubt that she's had a clue that he is nasty. I won't doubt that she knew that he watched, child porn, rape porn. I won't doubt that she participated in the swinging. If she didn't, she had knowledge of it. I think she laid in the cut and just turned a blind eye. I think he was just an opportunist for her, an opportunity for her to have a place to sleep. That's what I think when I look at her. When I looked at how she had herself, she didn't look decent until she went to court, his court hearing. All these pictures they have of her walking ho-hum And most people say, well, Angela, you probably wouldn't be dressed up either if somebody was, raiding your house and tearing up the tub. Probably not. But I also know I wouldn't have been sitting around that house either. Why I'm going to sleep outside my own house? No, I'm going to get a hotel room. I found all that bizarre. So they want to make this claim, his attorney, that the wife was away. But see, now you're alluding to the fact that he did do it. Duh. Think about that. I think maybe the state had said that she was away. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Because you got too many bodies adding up right now. For me to sit up in here and say, well, I think the wife was gone all those times. And gone where? So that jumps to what I'm claiming here. You're sleeping outside your house while the FBI has raided your house, going through your house, tearing your house apart, looking for evidence. So if you were gone the times that he killed these ladies, why you didn't have somewhere to go when the FBI was raiding your house? Why you couldn't find a hotel, an Airbnb to stay in? Because you didn't have access to anything. Because he didn't think of you as a wife. You were just like those women, a tool. There was no love, no affection, because as they say, a psychopath can't love anyone. And he didn't love those kids. He may have appeared affectionate if he did, but he was not genuine. And the fact that, as I said, she had nothing, it shows you he didn't value her as a partner, a life partner. She was just a lump of clay, besides a bigger lump of clay. She served no purpose. Somebody to maybe do laundry, cook a meal, have sex with occasionally, but that's it. And I won't doubt if they even had sex regular. It's not to say they couldn't have, because I don't know what went on in her house. But he has a ratchet appetite for sex. Probably all type of sex acts he was into. I could see him being the type wanting sex with animals. Not to be nasty, but when you deal with people like this that's into torturing people, porn with children and stuff, they like everything. There's not too much off the table. They're going to be into group sex, sex with animals, bestiality. They're going to be into same-sex, transgender sex, because one of the victims that's out there in that area was an Asian male dressed as a woman. So who's to say he wasn't into homosexuality? See, you don't know. We have to wait for the evidence to come back. But I tell you what, they have evidence on that Asian male. Shut your mouth. Now that's going to be the question. Is he bisexual? Will we hear that? He's partook in same sex in these trysts and entanglements and swinging escapades. Wow. Nubian said, serve him. Say what, Nubian? It's all disgusting. But see, this is the whole point about life. You don't know people. You don't know what people are doing behind closed doors. You don't know what they're talking about with people, what type of sex acts they're asking them to do. You just have no idea. And I think we should know better than any case R. Kelly. R. Kelly's a prime example of just a demonified man that just has a insatiable appetite for sex with men, women, children, boys, girls. He didn't even have just like one preference, like, the guy that likes the blonde, thin, long hair, blue eyes. R. Kelly didn't even care. And that's when you're dealing with, to me, a damn demon show enough. You don't care if it's a woman, tall, short, fat, long hair, short hair, bald, man. You like sex with men. You like sex with kids under 18. He liked girls. He liked boys. Soliciting boys at the McDonald's. And I'd like to know who would go give their R. Kelly's number to a child, a boy. Wouldn't you be stunned like, damn, I thought you liked girls or women? And then you're wrong for handing his number to a child. See, this is so diabolical. Funny I would put two sadists in this video. How ironic. How ironic. I didn't even think about that when I decided to put both content in the video. His wife was there to serve him. That's about it. Okay, I get what you're saying. Serve him. Okay. Yeah, just a means to an end. Something to do. And I think a lot of people are like that. And that's something I thought about the other day too. I said, how many people are in relationships where they know they're not happy, they know they don't have anything in common with this other person, but they're just there for some other necessity, be it a place to sleep, be it they have a good job, the person's well off, they've afforded them a good life, you know, a nice home, they're handsome, they're pretty, but they don't have anything in common. Because you've heard a lot of men say that over the years who realize they only chase arm candy, just a pretty girl, nice shape, nice features, but all in all, they can't even hold a conversation about anything. And then you have men who, as these two demons, they're sadists, they don't have anything to talk about. Everything would be sexual in nature. I've met men like that. Ring, ring, ring. Hello. Hi, Angela. How are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm great. Oh, I was just sitting here thinking about you and wanting to do this. See, who does that? Whether you just met the guy or you've known him 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. If the only conversation is about sex, what I want to do, you want to do something? I'm horny. Who does this? There's nothing wrong with having desires. Nothing wrong with wanting sex. Nothing wrong with wanting affection. But my goodness, if you can't even hold a conversation with another human being, you can't even say, hi, how are you doing? How was your day? What did you do today? Blah, blah, blah. And it's got to jump right into what you're wearing. Oh, I've been thinking about you. You know, they're not saying it in an affectionate way. You know the way I mean. Then they start going into the sex talk. It's like, is that the only reason why you called? There are men who are out here who cannot conversate about normal things. They don't talk about the news. They don't talk about their emotions. They don't talk about nothing. It's always about sex. Their house could be burning. They're going to ask you, hey, you want to come over? I'm horny. This is what I think of. These creatures that I'm speaking of, they are those type of men. If they say anything to you in a conversation, it's going to be very brief as far as great weather we're having. What'd you do today? It's going to be a jump off, trust me. You're going to go right into how are you doing and jump right into the river. That's where you're going. You are not about to have a stimulating conversation with the sadist. Because you have men who will just walk up to a woman, can't even say hello. They start talking about their body. Damn, you fine. Ooh, you got it going on. Oh, I bet you could do this. Oh, I'd like to do this to you. Who does that? These two right here. R. Kelly, Rex Heuremann. And all that stuff those people were saying in those documentaries about Rex Heuremann. He was professional. He was nice. You got other people who don't have those stories. He was nice to who he wanted to be nice to. That's what sociopaths do. They emulate. How are you doing? Great to see you. Well, the board meeting will start at 9 a.m. Be ready, be prepared. But then they may go over here and look at this person and start ogling them and making sexual advances and commentary. They choose who they want to be cordial to and who they want to be sexual to. This is why a lot of people, get distorted when bad things are said about a person, such as sexual allegations. Well, he wasn't like that with me, and that's my brother. He would never do that. He's a nice looking guy. He's athletic. He's smart. He doesn't have to rape a girl. Oh my gosh. You know how many times I've heard that? They rape, they lie about having sex with women. I had that experience as a young college girl. Guy making up a story about being with me, and I was like, we didn't do anything. Go make up a wild story. He didn't even go to the school where I went to, the college. Just came up there visiting some friends and just made up some wild story. And I got to confront him the following year. And I felt good about it. And all he could do was just stand there and smile, looking crazy, like, like he was in a fog. I said, you were wrong for what you did. I said, why in the world would you go put a rumor out like that when you know nothing ever happened? I lived in a locked dorm, for God's sake. There was no bringing guys into a dorm, all girl dorm. There was no letting a guy into your dorm. You weren't going to get a foot in the door because we had security cameras, all of that. You weren't going to bring no guy in this dorm. But it was so disrespectful. And he knew he was wrong. And I'm glad I was able to confront him a year later to let him know I didn't like this shit. I even told my cousin about it, that he was he was a hard nose. He wasn't the type of guy that you want to confront you about no dirty business. Because Tony, he was kind of upset. God rest his soul. But he was like, yeah, I don't like that. He says, that's not nice. Make up nasty rumors about a young lady. But you have guys who do that. They'll lie on a woman. They'll also tell a woman's business. This is why I always tell women you have to be very careful with the company you keep. You can't be in the company of everybody because you'll have people that'll make up things about you, and you also have men that'll go out and tell your business, what you did with them behind closed doors. And that's definitely the worst kind too. Tattleteller. It takes all kinds. There's just a lot of creeps out here. You have to be very careful of the people you meet. Because the one thing I've learned, how things start is not how things finish. Such as, kind of off subject a bit, but you could be talking to a guy, you're getting along, you like each other, and then somewhere down the road, things don't work out. And the next thing you know, he's saying nasty things about you. Could be true, could be not. But in the end, it doesn't matter. It's gossip. And people revel in that. Oh, he said this about her, and she does this, and da-da-da-da-da. And, start telling all kind of personal things about your home life, your relationships with your parents, your children, your friends. Some of it may be true, some of it may be not. But once it hits the street, it's news. And now you're sitting here having to defend yourself because you told some private things to somebody that you trusted, and now they put your business out there. It's a terrible place to be. So this is why I say you have to be very careful in meeting people, telling personal things. You wouldn't think a guy would do this to women, but as they call it, revenge porn. You have guys who do that. That's why they tell you don't take pictures. Don't take naked pictures. Don't send no naked pictures to no guy. Even if you're dating him, don't do it. Don't do no videos. Don't let him record you naked or having sexual relations. Don't do it. Now, naturally, you could be in someone's home. They've got cameras set up hidden and you don't know. And they could put it out there while you're dating, or you two fall out, you break up with him, whatever, and he puts that out, shares it with people, friends. You just don't know people. That's my commentary, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Give me a couple of minutes. The next live stream is going to be pertaining to Boy H and this dirty business of a GoFundMe. Allegedly. Going to do my quick research, and then I'll be back on to bring you that said commentary. We're going to chop up why his version changed pertaining to June 15th. Why is he saying he doesn't think that Candace did anything to the child? Okay. Was he involved with his father to scam money from social media? What is the state of Allie's health? What is the truth? Is she gone or not? GoFundMe allegedly for funeral expenses for Allison Harris. I called her Mulani. I can't keep up. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. I will be back shortly. It probably will be winded, so get your popcorn, wine, potato chips, because you're going to probably need it. I promise to be on my best behavior during that live stream. We will dissect what is the truth and what is not, and how you should react to this type of nonsense, because that's something that needs to be addressed as well. That's a live stream I've been wanting to do. Social media. How far is too far? And this content is exemplary of that. YouTube uploading videos about nonsense, veering away from the subject, which this is one of those topics. How far is too far? I'll see you all shortly. You're welcome, sweetheart. Thank you all so much for joining me. Anubia said, what you're wearing. Well, you know they do that. What you got on? You ain't got no negligee on? You got a negligee? Go put it on. You know, like, boy, bye. No, thank you. No, thank you. Look, as they say, to each his own. Thank you all so much for following the content. Once again, like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Check the community page for said updates. And Outpost is the movie of the week. I'll probably put up another movie. 7x7 will be my next suggestion. Please check it out. Free on Roku. Outpost, free on Roku. 7x7, very good movie. I do recommend it. 7 times 7. Now I'm trying to understand the point of that, because I don't even understand that title. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McAngie129, Cash App, stickers, and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you all so much. Give me a few minutes and I will be back with live number 2. You have been listening to The Vote XL.